Hello and welcome to the Talk with Tariro. On the program today, we want to look at the issue of social pressures that we are facing as a country, and I wouldn't want even to look at it as something that's affecting only young people, but even us as adults, we are succumbing to a lot of pressures. And sadly, also we are witnessing a lot of suicide cases, most also linked to the pressures that we are facing on a day-to-day basis. And we do know that social media is also playing a lot of a role in terms of what's pushing people to get themselves into some situations that they will not be able to cope with, and sometimes resultingly ending up in committing suicide. I have invited a social commentator here to be with us. That's Ethel Mpezeni, not first time on the Talk with Tariro. Ethel, welcome to the talk.
Thank you, Tariro.
Yes. When we are looking at the issue of social pressures, where exactly is it coming from? What's causing it in our country?
I think these pressures are just wanting to fit in sometimes, and then there are others where genuinely somebody has nobody to talk to when they really have pressure, whether be it at work or in the home environment, which then leads them to feel alone, and they don't have somebody that can understand where they are coming from. Yes.
Yeah. When you are saying wanting to fit in, what exactly are you talking about?
Okay, you know, as we come from different backgrounds. So sometimes as you get older, you make new friends, not the ones that you had at school, in society. That is just part of life.
Yeah.
So when you make new friends, there are those that are going to be successful. And you might not be as successful as those ones. But because you want to maintain and be in the same level with those friends of yours, you are going to have to do certain things. Others end up getting into massive credit, because they want to maintain that image, to say everything is okay.
Can you share with us real life examples of what you have witnessed of people who have actually tried to fit in and it ended badly, without mentioning names, but we want people to learn from all these examples?
Okay, a month ago there was a lady that I have known for quite some time. So she was into buying accessories, the accessories for the home accessories. So her business then started to go down. It wasn't as well as it was before, but because she wanted to maintain that image in the home, especially at the home front, and for her friends as well, then she got into a lot of credit. So now people were making noise about it.
Wanting their money.
Yes, wanting their money. For left, right, and center, everybody has been, you know. And then a few days down the line, she was found. She locked herself in the bedroom after, you know, and then she committed suicide. So you see, it's things like that. Then when things start to go wrong, or not wrong, I can't say wrong as such, but when things start to dwindle financially, there's no need to give yourself pressure. Just manage with whatever is going on in that.
How do you get to manage, Ethel? Because like here in Zim now, there's this being a phenomenon where everybody knows, Chemberegood is this kind of person. If we're having drinks, she's the one who's buying for us. So, you know, that position, that pedestal where you've been put there, and you still want to remain there. How does someone then get to a situation where you will say, no, let me accept where I am now, and not be succumb to any pressure? How do we get to that?
You know, I always tell people around me this, in people that are close to me. I was brought up in a home whereby my parents would tell me, live within your means. We are not going to do what we don't have in this house. What I can't afford to give you, I'm not going to stretch myself to do it. So I've never been that person to want to be where I cannot fit in. If people are going to be drinking champagne for 1.2 and I can't afford it, I'm not going to force myself. I'll be there. I might have been invited to say, okay, let's go and have drinks, but I'll be there with my bottle of Heineken, and they know, people know that. I'm not going to give myself pressure. so that I maintain an image that I am not. I can't. At the end of the day, I want to sleep at night. I don't want to stay awake thinking, now I'm owing this one money for shoes, I'm owing this one money for dresses, I'm owing this one money for handbags, I'm owing this one money for wigs. I personally, I can't live like that. So I think some of it's because you just throw yourself into that kind of life, and you don't then have breaks to say, okay, now this is getting out of hand. How do I get out of this?
So how do we remove that element of saying, because you are saying you're brought up and encouraged, live within your means, which is something that we are always told, but society's demands are forcing us not to live within our means.
You see,
where you want to then belong.
The moment you going to get in to live for society, you've left what you have been brought up, being taught. Already, that is a margin that you have put yourself into. That has nothing to do with where you're coming from. You have allowed it to happen, you see. But if you continuously remind yourself to say, no, I don't want this headache at the end of the day. I don't want not to be able to sleep at night thinking of how much I'm owing, of which I don't even have. Because you can owe someone knowing at the month end you're going to get it. But if you know you're not going to get it anyway, what is going to happen next?
So I'm still coming back to you to then say there is that pressure that people are getting. And it's pressure that's coming from society. And as individuals, people are living within a society. And that's why they're getting to that. Because you spoke about the need to belong. And it's that need to belong. How does one separate themselves from that need to belong?
The moment you remind yourself of what you have in your pocket, automatically you've separated yourself. Because you must know where to draw the line. To say, no, people are saying we are going to Dubai on holiday. Me, I can't afford to. They are my friends, yes, but I can't afford to go to Dubai. So I'm going to say, girls, no, this particular one, excuse me, I'm not going to be able to be there. But because people want to be seen on pictures to be there in Dubai, even when she doesn't have that money, she's going to borrow. She's not even worried by the time she comes back whether she's going to find that money or not. She's just going to borrow as long as she is going to be in pictures in Dubai.
Indeed, what Ethel is saying, when it comes to issues of social pressures, let's live within our means. Join us after the break. Welcome back as we continue with our discussion on the Talk with Tariro, where today we are looking at the issue of social pressures, particularly now that we are witnessing unprecedented cases of suicide in our country. Where are these pressures coming from and how do we resolve them? Ethel, first segment, you really looked at how social pressures impact on women. When we are looking at men, especially when we are then focusing on wanting to fit in and the pressures that come in, what are the challenges that you would say you have witnessed that men face?
I think men face challenges even are out of the expectations that they are looked at as in the home front, because there's a time when a man can be able to provide, he can have money, and then when things start to go down as well, people still expect him, they don't believe, to say, no, but they continue to say, there's this problem, and now for him to be able to explain, to say, no, my things are not going so well these days, because you can't exactly go around telling everybody, but you just say, okay, let me look into it, and then they don't. Okay, let me look into it, and then the pressures keep piling up. Then comes the pressures of the society, that people just want to be said, boss, you know, and still when things are not going okay, they want to keep that image of the, the title. Hence they continue to live a lie, of which at the end of the day, even where he sleeps is not the image that he'll be giving outside.
And let's look at the role that social media is playing in terms of this whole issue.
It's because you let yourself drown. The moment you involve yourself in such circles, for you to be able to withdraw, because it's like a drug. You know, when people give you this title that you have, and they clap hands for you, and they, you know, and I think it's just, you get this adrenaline to keep wanting more and more. Wherever you go, you want to be recognized, and you want to be, even when you get to a place, and then you just say, okay, let me just say, give them, and then I'll pay. When those people have drunk and gone, you are going to remain with that credit, and then you're going to tell that person, no, I'll bring it on Monday. On Monday you won't have it because you think maybe you think you will find it, but you're not going to find it because things are not going so well for you. And because of that image that you want to maintain, that is going to give you pressure.
And this phenomenon, boss, where is it coming from?
My streets. In the streets. They give each other those names because of, like, if someone can make money, strike a deal, and then he's going to spend on his friends, or, you know, and that's how they, and you know, when people give you that name, I've noticed when a man is given that name, it, like I'm saying, it's like a drug. He gets adrenaline, whereby people, boss, he feels, I need to show that I'm a boss. So he'll continue even when things are not. That's when you start hearing, he's owing somebody, he borrowed money, he didn't return that money, he went and took stuff and he didn't pay for that, you know, just to keep maintaining that title.
And you spoke about the issue of having nobody to talk to. Within our own Zimbabwean context, I think we've got extended family, we've got other structures that are in existence, we've got the church, religious groups, where people, when I'm looking at ourselves, comparing even with the Western world, I would say we've got that support system for individuals. Why is it that now we are actually getting to a situation where we are saying maybe somebody didn't have anybody to talk to?
You know, the family, you know, the family cycle is no longer what it used to be. The uncles and the aunties, people have left the country. Some aunties, you can actually find, you have to find an extended auntie, not an immediate, like from you. So that extended auntie might not be as listening. She might not pay attention to your problems, because I've seen that happening in society, whereby my friend's aunt is the cousin to her father, so she's not going to take seriously her niece's problems as much as it would be if it were her immediate brother. You understand? So sometimes they might not have anybody to confide in. And this issue of when you tell your auntie or your uncle something, they carry that story, and it's now a family story. Did you hear these days his things are no longer going okay? He came to me and he said he didn't even have $20. You know? Imagine,
he used to show off.
He used to show off. So now he's asking me for $20. Me. You see? So it's things like that that will make a person withdraw and think, but I used to help these people, and now I am the talk of, you know, the family. And you know, funny enough, we are actually even witnessing an increase in terms of depression, mental health issues. We actually covered an issue here on issues of mental health, where we are talking about having nobody to talk to. Is it also not based on an individual, on you as a person, not to say people are actually not there, but because you are just feeling to say, okay, people used to know me like this. You actually don't even go out there to seek or to find somebody to talk to, because there is that pretense that we still have. So you're afraid maybe they will laugh at me, or they will think now, you know. So, and then you actually keep it to yourself. You're not opening up. Is it also not based on an individual? I can't say it's based on an individual, because, you know, sometimes when you want to talk to, when you're going through something, you need somebody who's been through that. I can't come to you and start talking about pregnancy when you've never been pregnant. You won't understand. I'm having hormonal issues, I'm having this. You're just going to say, oh, I think this is what is happening, because you don't understand. So sometimes if they don't approach anybody, they might not be able to think, I can't find somebody who can relate to my issues. I need somebody who can relate. somebody who's been there before, who's had money and been broke and can understand that it happens, will say, no, it happens. So when this happens, you need to do this so that you are able to manage this and you get through it.
So in terms of the need to open up, what message would you give people in terms of kana zvaoma, you need to find someone to talk to?
I think I would just say if you're going through something, there's always that one friend. You might think that friend is not going to be able to help you if just because they've never reached where you are exactly, but they might have been there in another area in life. It's better to reach out.
Indeed, it is better to reach out when you think you have reached your end. Instead of taking drastic actions, it's important to always make sure you find somebody to talk to. When we come back after the break, we would want to address the issue of when you have no one to talk to, when the social pressures get heavy, you then think it's better to take my own life. The issue of an increase in suicide in our country. Welcome back. We continue with our discussion. Today we are focusing on the issue of social pressures. Now what we would want to look at is the number of suicide cases that we have witnessed in our country. Ethel, linking suicide cases, social pressures that we spoke about, why would we say we are witnessing such an increase in suicide cases in our country?
With suicide, it's actually it's in two. There's the social pressures that we're talking about, generally, where people just feel they need to fit in, and then sometimes it's also a spiritual matter. You'll find that if you look into those people's backgrounds, families, you'll hear you know. So it's spiritual and it's also with society. Whereby we were talking earlier on about how somebody wants to fit in, how somebody wants to be able to be seen living the life that they are not able to, to afford.
But recently social media has been awash in terms of men who have actually taken their lives, not only based on the issue of maybe you want to fit in, but because it's a jilted lover. Husband has found a wife with somebody and they're failing to cope. And I think we had 1 week where we had 3-4 cases of men who were reported to have committed suicide because they had relationship issues.
Yes, I think I might have come across one such issue on Facebook. And I think, with men are not as strong as women are, especially when it comes to emotions. They are not, they are masculine, yes, but they are not strong men. So when I think sometimes somebody feels he's loved so much and invested in that woman, and then maybe that woman is not as invested as he thought she was, and he thinks the only way is, now what is society going to say about this? When people might have been telling me, leave this woman, and he wasn't listening, and then he just thinks the only way out is to commit suicide.
So what needs to be done to men for them to have that strength? Because oftentimes you see on social media people are making funny comments where they say all these things, they're coming in as jokes, but when you are looking at it maybe through even upbringing, it's something that nobody has actually taken time to sit men down to say, when you are faced with pressures, because murume anonzi anoshinga goes back even to the issue of saying murume hachemi, and that's where it all comes from. So they bottle everything, and then because they don't want to go out there and say this is what is happening, they resort to killing themselves.
It comes back to that issue that I'd said, that you need to have someone to talk to. And sometimes one can feel that they're not going to understand me. Because I've invested in this woman and I've loved this woman. But because someone might not have been in that person's shoes for them to understand. So they might take it as a joke to say, how can how can you really be crying over this woman?
Yes.
So those kind of things. And yet someone is trying to explain to you to say, no, I was really invested in this woman.
Yeah.
So we must learn to, listen when somebody comes with a problem and try to pay attention to say, no, but this person might be going through something. Tingangomseka zvedu kuti nyaya yake but inotomunhu iri nyaya irichi iri kutomudya.
Isusu as Zimbabweans, as a community, as a country, are we open enough to actually recognize that I think there's a problem there, where you can tell this person, they are my friends, they are not, this is not how they normally behave, such that we can recognize a problem when it's there?
I don't think people are there yet. They are not yet there. When because when you're sitting as a group, or when you have friends, there's always something about your friends that they do differently when they're going through something. Then to say, because but not everybody now is able to recognize that kind of change in a person.
So how do we recognize that? How do we get to a situation where we can actually see that there is a problem? I know I remember one post particularly on Facebook where one girl actually was there. I think it took about a week, where she was just throwing in subliminals, all these messages, and people would say, you can die. And the next thing, she took poison and she died. And then people started saying resting, and people say, but she had said it. But when somebody actually comes up, we start laughing at them. We even say to them, you can go ahead. Why are you even talking about that?
Then it comes back to your circle, your close friends. Those are the ones that would know you better, because we mustn't have this habit of thinking social media is going to solve our problems. If you're going through something, you go and throw it on social media and think everybody has got that eye to see there is a problem. People go there for different reasons. Not everybody is there to watch and look and think, I'm looking to see if I can help someone. Others are just there to go and hurl insults at anything that is there on social media. So sometimes it's very important, like when we are going through something, let us be within our circles, try and find that person that you can confide in, to say, you know what, I'm going through this. I don't know if you can help me, but I need somebody to talk to. And us as friends of other people as well, let us learn to look closer when someone is throwing certain comments, because there are those comments that you can say, but yes, we were drinking last night, but she kept on talking about something. Maybe there could be something. Let me just call her and ask, is everything okay? It's always important to do that. That way a person can open up to say, okay, so she noticed that I was not okay.
And with social media, how can people get to a situation where they do not succumb to social media pressure?
That is difficult. Because a lot of people have succumbed to it. A lot of people. And it's sad, because at the end of the day, when you log off, because that thing is for those minutes that you're online, after that, when you log off, you're by yourself. And you go through all that by yourself. Those people that were clapping hands for you on social media, they're not there. You see, so sometimes you need to take a step back and pinch yourself to say, okay, no, I need to get back to reality.
And looking at social media, the issue of social pressures, some people being forced now to commit suicide. What would you then say is your message to Zimbabweans in terms of dealing with all these issues that we discussed today?
We need to be open more. Let us not bottle things up inside. You'd rather, okay, if you feel your friends or your family, they are not the right people that you want to share with, find a stranger. Not just any stranger, but somebody that is not so close to you, just to share that issue, to say, you know what, I'm going through something, I just needed somebody to talk to. And there are also these these groups that they are there actually. If we look for them, if you look for them, they are there. That person doesn't know you, and they won't judge you when you get there, to say, you know what, I'm going through this, I don't know how I can overcome this issue of what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking, depending on what you're going through. It's always important to let it out, because whatever it is that you're going to keep inside, it is then one day or at the end of the day just going to best, leading you to do, you know, certain things that you are not supposed to do in the first place.
Indeed, Ethel is saying when you are faced with those social pressures, it's important to find somebody to talk to. Don't bottle everything. And for us as Zimbabweans, let's also be there for each other. Let's restore that spirit of Ubuntu, where we are there for each other. All these suicide cases that we are witnessing that keep on increasing, we need to make sure we are there for each other if we are going to eliminate them. Until we meet again next week, it's goodbye.